Okay, so now that we have most of my sphere is done. I showed you guys that I started off with my 4B to do my shading, and then I jumped to my 2B, which is still a soft lead, but it's a little bit harder than the 4B to kind of go over some of that stuff. And then I actually jumped from there, went to an H. So this is my mechanical pencil. It's an H lead, so it's kind of nice because you can always keep it sharp. Anyway, so then that's how I kind of got to smooth out some of this surface in here, because it's a harder lead and it'll fill in the gaps. So you can tell that everything's in relationship to everything else. There's no line around this. It's all done with value. How dark is something? How light is something? Okay, so this value sitting next to this value, this lighter value, this reflective surface coming up from the ground. That's a lighter value. This is the lightest part. And then notice where here, where the light source is coming in from above, right? It's not completely white. It's actually shaded. Because it's a sphere and things are moving away from us in space, this is going to have some value on it. It's going to be a little bit darker, and then this is going to be lighter, okay? And then when you guys go to do your sphere, you're going to actually deal with the background. Okay, so this I came in with my 4B and I did it darkest over here because it's lightest over here, and as I came over where it got darker, I lightened, right? So then for this one I used my 2B, and again I shaded in the direction of the ground plane, that it's this flat horizontal area, and so that's a harder lead, so it became a lot lighter. So you can see the variation between the values and how they work together to create the sphere. So there's a couple other things. I didn't have you guys buy these. You can if you want. They're usually not this sturdy when you first buy them. They're white. And they're smudge sticks. You can use these to kind of smudge things. But you want to think about texture and how that plays out in your piece. Maybe you want some things that are kind of grainy. Maybe you want things that are kind of soft and hard edge. It just depends on what it is that you're going for in terms of the look. If you don't have something like this, and they come in different sizes, there's very thick, there's very thin, there's this. You can also just get a paper towel and put your pencil around it and smudge that way too. It just depends on how this helps with getting very particular with small spaces. But let's just see what happens if I smudge with my paper towel, this 4B, and what that ends up looking like. I try to refrain from having you guys do smudging because I feel like it can become a crutch. It can also be a really useful tool where you soften something, right? This part right here, I would maybe get in, and again, you can have a piece of paper down so you don't, but this will help kind of get closer in so I don't have that halo effect. So we're not dealing with line at all in this. And actually since this is better, you can get a tighter surface, tighter value. So I'll continue with that. Notice how it's soft, right? And it's now making the little graininess of the ball stand out a little bit. So that's kind of cool. With this next project, you guys are going to probably be doing a lot of experimentation to see what works, what doesn't work. But don't worry about that right now. Right now we want to just focus on making a really amazing sphere using light logic and various values, and messing with our materials, our pencils, and seeing what they can and cannot do. So I always say that half the battle in art is actually just understanding material and how to use it. What does it do? But again, if you wanted to not buy one of these, you could just wrap this around a pencil and get a nice fine point that way, like that, and then kind of get in there. Maybe I go in a circular formation, smooth things out a bit. Now remember, I used a 4B on this upper part, so it's going to be a lot darker. If I'm going to do the same thing and smudge at the bottom, then I'm going to have to, it seems really dirty, I'm going to have to find a cleaner spot on my, you know, paper towel to then smudge down here. And again, a circular formation is probably helpful. Or up and down, kind of blur things out of it, and it also creates a different texture for the ball to maybe stand out a bit more. So it's a smoother surface. And notice I created a substantial amount of space for this background. I didn't just do a halo, I filled it in so it really starts to stand out. Okay, so then one last thing I wanted to talk about was maybe creating more of a highlight in this highlighted area. So I would just get my kneaded eraser like that, get it clean, and just get like a small area that you're gonna create, and then you can just kind of lift out just a little bit of the highlight and where that is. You can dab if you want, like that, and just lift out. You can kind of brush it over. Maybe a combination of both. But then what if it gets too highlighted, which I just did? I could come back in and just do a little bit, the dirty part of my smudge stick, and just kind of bring that back over. Or I could just go in with my H pencil and bring that back around. And to be honest, I could keep going with this and build it up even more. I could just keep going on and on and on. There it is. Pretty much done. Now it's your turn. Oh wait, one last thing. I could smooth this out if I wanted, so then the ball really stands out in terms of the contrast of texture. Because if this is a smooth surface, then maybe this would be a smooth surface as well. All right. I could even use this to soften the edge. Okay, I am done. I hope that's helpful.